Hi, my name is Jennifer, and today we are going to talk about the pros and cons of using your personal name for your blog name. Selecting a name for your blog can be really difficult, and it's difficult to decide if you should go with a branded name or use your personal name. And unfortunately, the answer is the same as the answer to many digital marketing questions, and that is, it depends. So we are going to discuss the advantages and disadvantages of each option and try to give you a better idea of if you should be using your personal name or a branded name for your blog name.
And now it's time for some more DIY SEO tips with Jennifer Regina.
Okay, so first, let's go over the pros of using your personal name for your blog name. The first pro is it helps people connect with you as a person. When you use your personal name for your blog name, there is no question about who is talking to the reader. A brand could sometimes feel like a faceless identity, whereas a personal name makes it really clear that this is coming from a human, from a real person, and it's very clear what the source is, and that really helps build the trust and authenticity of the blog. The second pro is it allows you to switch topics. When your name is the blog name, then you are the common thread. So any topics that you're interested in could be items that you write about on your blog. And as your interests adjust over time, your blog topics can adjust over time. So using your name as the blog does give you a lot of flexibility with what kind of content you can write about. And then the third pro of using your name for the blog name is it brands yourself as an expert. So when your name is the blog name, you are building your authority and your personal brand. And this could be really beneficial if you're planning to get a new job and you want an employer to be able to see you as a trusted individual. This can really help build up your personal brand. Okay, now let's go over some cons of using your personal name for your blog name. The first con is it can be difficult to remember and spell. So this is not always the case, but just generally speaking, if you use a branded name, it's going to be a little bit easier for people to remember than if you use your personal name. Because your personal name can have a complicated spelling. Of course, this isn't always the case. You will know if this makes sense for your case or not. But normally, if you go a branded name, you have the opportunity to choose a domain that's a little bit more memorable than your name might be. The second con is using a personal name for the blog name gives you an unclear blog focus. Of course, we basically just use the same point as a pro above, that you have a flexibility in topics, but that pro is also a con because your focus will be unclear if you are switching the blog topic all the time. So this is problematic because not only would it be unclear to your readers, but it will also be unclear to search engines. So it's going to be harder to rank if you are switching your blog topic instead of choosing a focus and writing consistent content that all pertains to that same area of expertise. And then the third con is if you are planning to sell your website anytime in the future, using your personal name is going to be a lot harder to sell than if you have a branded name. A personal name is going to be tied with your identity. So you are going to be contributing the value to that website domain. Whereas a branded domain has the potential of thriving with a different business owner and it is not directly tied to your name. Okay, so how should you decide if you should use your name for the blog or not? I'm going to make it simple for you. Use your name for the blog if personal branding is your goal. If you're aiming to enhance your job prospects and expand your social network, then use your name. If you intend to use your blog as an extension of your resume, then use your name. Now, on the other hand, you'll want to use a brand name and not your personal name if your goal is to build a business. If you're selling a product or planning to do so in the future, then use a branded name. If you view your blog as a business venture and you're less concerned about personal branding, then use a branded name. Don't use your personal name for your blog name. And if you're still confused, we actually put together a flow chart that you can look at to help determine if you should use a branded name or a personal name for your blog. So to take a look at that flow chart, click the link in the video description, or if you're listening to the podcast, then click the show notes and you'll see the link right there. Okay, so what have other people done? Let's take a look at some popular bloggers and see if they're using their personal name or a branded name. First is Amy Porterfield. And Amy Porterfield uses her personal name for her website, and she includes it on everything that she does. So amyporterfield.com is her main business website, and she does have courses and offerings that have their own branded names with them, but it always says with Amy Porterfield. So her podcast, Online Marketing Made Easy with Amy Porterfield. So she is really going the name route. Next is Jasmine Star. And Jasmine Star actually has gone both routes. So she has her personal brand of jasminestar.com, and she uses that for messages that come directly from her. She's using that when she's giving business advice, and she uses it kind of separate from her main brand. Her main brand is socialcurator.com, and though her name and face are on that brand, it is a separate brand that is independent from her personal brand. And then lastly, Michael Hyatt. And Michael Hyatt has gone only the branded route. So his website, fullfocus.co, is a branded website. And there's actually a page on the site that talks about that it used to be branded as Michael Hyatt. And he has switched away from that and now completely focuses on the branded name and not using his personal name in his branding anymore. So you can see from these examples, there is not one right way to do it. Sometimes it makes more sense to use your personal name. Other times it makes more sense to use a branded name. Sometimes it makes sense to do both. So it really just depends on your specific needs. Now let's talk about the SEO impact of your domain name. So your domain name will have a little bit of an impact in search engine rankings, but honestly, it is so minimal that that should not be your decision when you're choosing your domain name. It's just one of many factors. It can help, but it's not enough that it should make your decision for you. Now, if it is extremely important to you that when somebody types in your personal name, that your website appears at the very top of the search engine results, then yes, having your name as your domain name will make that easier to accomplish. Although it is possible to do that with a branded domain as well. If you want your branded domain name to rank well for your personal name, then I would recommend adding a page specific about yourself. So you can have a page that's dedicated to the founder and talk about your role in the company. And as long as that page is optimized for your name and does talk about you, there's no reason why that page can't rank just as high as a domain name that specifically has your name in the domain name. And the opposite of this is also true. A branded domain name will be a little bit easier to rank for a product name if you use that product name for your brand name, but it wouldn't be impossible to do that on a personal domain. I would recommend taking the same kind of route. If you have a personal domain name and you want it to rank well for a branded term, then make a landing page that's all about that branded product. Now, it is important to mention that you want to include your name either way. Whether you go the branded domain route or you use your personal name, you still want to have your name on your blog. Creating a page that's all about the founder, all about yourself is a good tactic to take, but also make sure on your blog articles, you are giving credit to yourself as the author. All of this will help build your trust and authenticity. And before you make a choice, verify that the domain name is available. It does you no good to choose a domain name if it's not possible for you to get it. So make sure the domain name you're interested in is available. There are tools that you can use to do this. I will link to my favorite tool in the video description, or again, if you're listening to audio, then it will be in the show notes. So you can take a look there to see the tool that I use just to verify that the domain is available. And once you've made your choice, secure the domain name, get that reserved, and then start building up your blog. So in summary, a branded domain name provides more paths of monetization than a personal name. But if personal branding is your primary focus, then a personal name can be an excellent choice as well. Regardless of your decision, the key is to get started. So either way you go, we'll be fine. Just make a decision and get started on your blog and start building out that consistent blog content. I hope this helped, and if it did, please subscribe. Thanks and happy marketing.
Thanks for listening, and if you enjoyed this, please subscribe. This episode was brought to you by ClearPath Online, a DIY SEO tool for your website.